Hey everybody, it's your friend Jason Pound here answering the top questions asked by home buyers in today's real estate market. The question we're tackling today is, how do I lose my earnest money? That's a very important question. If you're going to put earnest money down on a contract and risk losing it, you need to know what your risk is. The short answer is bad faith. And there are two versions of bad faith in the real estate transaction. One is bad faith from the buyer. If you enter into a contract with a seller and you do not hit certain deadlines that you agreed to hit, you are at risk of losing your earnest money. The reason I say bad faith upon a seller, there aren't too many deadlines that a seller has to hit. Once you get past certain time frames inside of a contract, your buyers are basically locked in. But what happens if your buyer is having problems getting their loan to the closing table and they just need a few extra days? And there are some people, some sellers who act in bad faith. It's legal, but they act in bad faith and they kick out the contract, keep the earnest money, put it back on the market and look for additional offers. So bad faith by the buyer or bad faith by the seller. However, as usual, let me over-explain. 3 quick topics regarding the subject of earnest money. First, you need to know what it is. Earnest money in Oklahoma is typically 1% of the purchase price. It is the buyer's way of putting skin into the game and saying, I am serious about purchasing this property. I have funds to secure the purchase of this property. And if I do not meet certain requirements of the contract, you get to keep my earnest money. This is what encourages negotiations to happen between buyers and sellers once they are under contract. The seller is tied to a certain time frame that they're receiving compensation, and the buyer is tied to certain timelines or they risk losing their earnest money. So 1% is typically good enough. Number 2, TRR stands for treatments, repairs, and replacements. It is a buyer's right to inspect a property, and after inspection, they have to sign a form called treatments, repairs, and replacements, in which they ask for treatments, repairs, and replacements, or they sign a line that says, we accept this house in current condition. That is a point of negotiation between buyers and sellers. Once this agreement has been reached and a second set of signatures is applied, the first set of signatures gets you under contract for the price. The second set of signatures confirms that you're going to remain under contract and you have agreed on a repair list or no repair list at all. Once you sign a TRR, you are locked in, and if you back out, more than likely you're going to lose your money. However, there are a couple escape clauses built into the contract. I'll make another video on those. What happens if you get past the TRR and you're locked in? What is another way to lose your earnest money? Well, once you have agreed to the TRR and you back out of the deal, you lose your earnest money. Also, if you miss your closing date, so if you agree to close on Friday the 13th, and for whatever reason you don't have your funds together, you don't have your loan together, and you don't close on Friday the 13th, but you can close on Monday, Monday the 16th, you are at the mercy of the faith of the seller. Are they going to take your earnest money and kick you out of contract and go back on the market and find a different buyer? Or are they going to act in good faith and sign an extension and let you close on Monday? That is how you lose your earnest money. Miss your closing date, back out after a TRR. There are many other escape clauses that we can talk about on another day. In the meantime, my name is Jason Pound with Jericho Pound Realty Group, Keller Williams, Mullenix, and Norman. We service the entire Oklahoma City metro area with hyper-local expertise in South Oklahoma City, Moore, and Norman. If we can ever be of service, don't hesitate to reach out. We are here to serve. In the meanwhile, peace out. Have a great life.